Welcome to this training on Google Forms. Typically, when I think of Google Forms, I think of it as an instrument that fulfills two different end goals. I either want to gather information from a group of individuals, or item number two, I want to use it as a quiz. I want to design a quiz and distribute it to my class, and I want it to be self-graded, and I want it to be an efficient tool that helps me move forward with whatever the next course of action is in my classroom. An efficient assessment tool. To start off this tutorial, I'm going to explain how to get started, and then from there, I'm going to use it as a data gathering tool. Later on in this tutorial, a different video, not this one, I'll explain how to use Google Forms as an assessment tool. Let's go ahead and get started. In order to get started, I am here inside of Google Drive. If you're not in Drive already, you can go to drive.google.com in order to get started. I'm going to model 3 different ways that you can start a form easily. Step number 1, right over here in the white space, I'm going to take my mouse and I'm going to use the right click button in order for the invisible drop-down menu to appear. At the bottom of this menu, you'll see right here how it says Google Forms. If I were to click right here on Google Forms, a brand new form would open in an adjacent tab. That's one way. Here's way number 2. Over here on the left-hand side of the screen, it says New. When I click one time where it says New, I have the exact same menu that I just saw a moment ago. When I come down to the bottom of that menu, if I click Google Forms one time, a brand new form will open in an adjacent tab. The 2 ways that I just modeled would deposit that brand new Google form right here into this space. Inside my drive, I am inside of the sample folder. Inside of the sample folder, I am inside 7th grade. The Google form would appear right here. Now, this very next method that I'm showing you, by applying the next method, that brand new form is simply going to deposit inside of my drive. Not inside of a subfolder, but into my drive proper. Up here, I'm going to click the plus symbol one time. After clicking the plus symbol one time, I'm going to click right up here and I'm going to type forms.new. When I press enter on the keyboard, I'm going to have a brand new Google form appear. Here I am with this light lavender background with no specific information, just the generic template right out of the gate. Now, nothing prevents me from getting started and typing all the information in here. However, when I scoot back here over to the 7th grade folder, my form is not here. And that's what I want. So I'm gonna click the X to get rid of this one. And I'm gonna come back over here to the new button, followed by Google Forms, so that my form is stored in this location. A brand new tab adjacent to Google Drive has just been formed, and I now have a Google form ready to go. Up here on the top left, I'm going to title my form. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to pretend that I'm an office manager and that I want to gather t-shirt data for my site. Let's pretend that there are 76 employees on my site and I need to know the style, the color, the size, and the quantity when it comes to t-shirts for all of those employees. Now, as an office manager, I could manage all of those emails. And it may only be 76 emails if everybody sends me all the information correctly the first time. But if I have to email 15 of those people back more than once, I'm looking at close to 100 or more emails over the course of several days to gather all of that information, and then it's a mess inside of my email inbox to figure out where all that information is. But if I design a Google form, all of that information is going to populate here seamlessly. So let's use that as an example. I'm going to say site ABC. Let me click up here in the very top left. This space right here is designed for me, for organizational purposes. So I'm going to say site ABC. And this is going to be t-shirts, and we'll say it's the 2022 school year. When I press enter, that information is going to populate over here as well where it says untitled form. I clicked outside of that space, sorry, instead of pressing enter. Now, I have the ability to override the information here in this space if I want my audience to see something slightly different. If I change my mind and I would prefer to have a bracket around the school site, I can do that. And none of that is going to disturb the organizational strategy that I have used over here on the left. Likewise, later on in our tutorial, when we talk about quizzes and other things, you may not want your students to see the organizational strategy that you use on the top left. It may be easier and more efficient if they see a slightly different title. Let me scoot over here. Okay, all changes have been saved in Drive. Let me scoot over here to the top left, and then right down here it says Untitled Form, showcasing that my form started here. I don't need to be nervous that the title isn't appearing there immediately. I can use the refresh button in order for that information to be updated. And now you'll see right here that information has been updated. So because I used either method 1 or method 2, the right click over here or the plus button over here, that's what achieved the outcome that the form is housed in this location. Otherwise, it's just tucked into my drive with a bunch of other things. Now let me scoot back here. Underneath the title, it says form description. The form description, in my opinion, is a great resource that allows your audience to have a small amount of information. I would maybe call it the instructions for what to do next. So in the form description, my audience is smart enough to know that they're supposed to make a t-shirt selection, but in this area, I can let them know what the deadline is and who to email if they have any questions. If I were distributing this to parents because I need information related to robotics, I could include my email address as well as some other key details. If I'm distributing this to staff and there is a deadline or a timeline, I would want to include that information here. And then if the staff has any questions, who do they reach out to? I could put that phone extension here, a website, maybe to direct them to, or an email address. Again, that specific area is not essential. It's something that you can bypass and leave empty. However, for any specific audience that you're working with, it might be an important tool. It's optional. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scoot down to question number 1. There are several different question styles that I'm going to model over the course of these different videos, and I'm just going to use what they already have on display. So right here it says untitled question, and I'm going to pretend that my staff has 3 different t-shirt styles to choose from. So I'm going to ask them if they want style A, B, or C. So right here in this space, I was able to type out the question, which t-shirt style would you like? Right down here in the answer option area, I'm going to say option A. Press enter on the keyboard. I'm going to choose option B. I'm going to press enter on my keyboard, and then option C. Those are the options that I'm giving my audience. It'll make more sense in just a second. Right over here, I have a square with mountains in it, and this is letting me know that I can add a picture to this question. Let me click one time. When I do that, this box will appear, giving me a few different options to choose from. Do I want to upload something from my computer? Do I want to use the internal camera of my computer, the one that's pointed right here at my forehead? Do I want to use a URL? Do I want to pull from photos, Google Drive? Do I want to do a Google image search? Over here on the right-hand side, if I typed in animal cell, okay, we're not working with a quiz right now, but later on when I get to that point, if you want to include a question related to animal cells, you don't have to pull one off of your computer or take a picture of the textbook. You can choose images that are already on the internet in order to fill in any of that picture related information. Or if I needed a map of Africa, there are several different maps that appear. If any of these achieve the outcome that I'm looking for, then I can supply that information there, and I can ask historical timeline related questions. So lots of options related to pictures, especially from the internet. But right now I'm gonna head over to upload, and I can click browse and search my computer, or it says drag a file here. So let me queue up that image in my other screen, and then I'm just going to drag and drop that image. All right, so I'm going to drag and drop the image. Okay, I have the image right here, and when I let go, it's going to instantly upload and then deposit itself into the question. If I have made a mistake, oops, just kidding, I grabbed the wrong picture. Over here, this More button disappears at times. If I click away from it, earlier just a second ago it disappeared, and so, oh, there we go. We can see how it disappeared. And then by clicking off of the image, okay, when I click on the image it disappears. When I click off the image it reappears. Let me click right there on the More button, and then I can change, or I can remove, or I can add a caption. For any students or individuals who are visually impaired and they're having difficulties understanding or interpreting what the image is, you can add a caption. Let me give a shout out to this organization. I'm giving you free advertising. So spiritshop.com, Wahoo, lots of awesome, fantastic merchandise over here. Just grabbed a picture right here. So there's your free advertising for the day. I added an ABC to the bottom of the image. That way the individuals who are utilizing this form, they can communicate with me easily if they want option A, B, or C to choose from. When I move on from t-shirt style, I now need to ask my audience what size shirt they would like. And then in addition to size, maybe they have the ability to choose a specific color. So you'll notice that there are color options down here. Not every color option is available for every shirt. I'm just going to choose a few color options in my example. I'm going to scoot down, and you'll notice how this menu over here is traveling with me. At the bottom of the screen, at the very bottom of this particular question, there's a button that asks me whether or not I want this to be a required question for my audience. And I can tick that button one time, indicating that my audience cannot move beyond the end of this form successfully if they have failed to answer this question. So I'm going to tick required, and then I'm also going to click the plus button right here because I'm ready to add a question. My next question is going to be size. What size? What do you like? Google does a fantastic job of interpreting the type of question that I am supplying into this space, and it has auto-filled some options. If I choose add all right here, it's going to add all of those options for me, and I don't have to type them in. So let me click add all right here, and then all of those options have been supplied in this space. At any point, if you are dissatisfied with your answers, you can come in and adjust them at any point. So if you have a typo or you have placed them out of order, you can easily change them. In addition to that, if you're dissatisfied with the order that your answer options appear, there are handles immediately to the left of any one of these answer options. You can grab that handle and then lift or lower. So by using my mouse, I'm going to grab the handle on the far left. I'm going to leave my left mouse button down until I've had a chance to move up or down so that I can drop that in the spot that I think is most efficient. Over here on the right, I'm going to click the plus button one more time. And then from here, I'm going to give my audience some color options. What color would you like? All right, I've had an opportunity to type all of those responses in. I had an opportunity to move them into a sequence that I thought was efficient. And I also have the capacity to add a picture if I wanted to. That way my audience could understand the difference between light gray and smoke gray, or light blue and navy blue. It's up to you. I've already modeled how to add that in. And then if you have supplied some responses where you're like, oh, just kidding, I really don't want that answer option in there. Over here on the far right hand side, you have an X that allows you to remove or delete that answer option. Likewise, you'll notice that when I hover right there near the X, you also have the ability to add a picture into those answer options. So let me model that for you. I'm going to click this button right here in order to add that. I'm going to scoot off screen and drag that image in and let go. And you'll notice how those two pieces are working in tandem for one answer option. So I don't have two individual circles for my audience to use. They recognize that light heather gray is represented by this particular image right here. And they could choose that by clicking the bubble. I'm in the editor space, so clicking the bubble is inefficient. And then in order to remove that, if you're like, oops, just kidding, that's the wrong color, or I don't like that choice, then you can choose the X in order for that to disappear. That's all the time I have for this very first tutorial. Please join me for the next one as we continue this discussion. Thank you so much for paying attention and have a great day.